Welcome to the Lighthouse and to today's IP gathering and meditation and practices. So let's begin right away because I have quite a runway of things I'd like to inquire into somatically and energetically together today. Let's begin right away by tuning into the resonance of the eyes. So before I give you the technology, if you will, it's important to recognize that as postmodern species living in a trans-apocalyptic time, which is a weather futurist term, that we're carrying a lot of stress in the internal energetics of our eyes and in the space behind the eyes, and thereby in the brain and in the function of the nervous system and in the function of the endocrine system. So, a lot of us are sort of in, this sort of zombie forward-facing myopia because of our relationship to the screen world. And thank goodness for that, right? Because it allows us to be together here in this way today, which I'm so grateful for. And for others of us who feel like our nervous systems are maybe a little bit more electrified, we can find that our eyes are constantly scanning environments for information, for impetus, for inspiration, for hope, which is, both of those configurations are very fatiguing. So what I'm going to give you here is going to just help to, it's a regulatory practice that is going to help to soothe the essence in the eyes and toggle us into, parasympathetic nervous system dominance. So reach your arms out and then consciously relax your shoulders down, and also relax all 10 fingers down and feel the whole length of your spine. You can close your eyes. Feel the whole length of your spine lifting from the tailbone all the way up through the brainstem and even extending up and beyond the borders of your body. And then just listen to my verbal cues. I want you to curl your small fingers into the center of the palm. Eyes can stay closed. Curl the ring fingers into the center of the palm. Middle fingers also into the palm, and the same thing with the index fingers. And then wrap your thumbs, please, around all of those 4 fingers, and then tuck the fists that you have just crafted. So you really have inserted the fingertips into the center of the palm as if you've plugged them into a docking station. And then curl the fists in towards the bottom of the wrists. So fist to wrist, shoulder blades down, and then pull the shoulder blades out on an east-west track. Can everybody still see me okay? I just got an interesting notification on my screen. Can I get an indication that you can see me and that you can hear me? Okay, fantastic. Great.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So I'm just gonna deal with that. All right, moving right along as if nothing ever happened. So the eyes are closed, and then what you're going to do is you're going to move your eyes around the hours of the clock. So you're going to slowly, with the eyes closed, look north. So look to 12 o'clock with the eyes, and then look to 1 and 2, and all the way back around to the top of the clock to 12, and then go counterclockwise. And I want you to move really, really slow as you do this practice, as you regulate the energy in the eyes. And let it be, let it be an insightful internal experience, all right? So, the way that we do very ceremonious things so unceremoniously all the time as human beings, it's a pretty profound indication of our collective disassociation, which is one of the greatest dis-eases in our people in this time. So let the way in which you're simply moving your eyes and regulating and soothing your nervous system, let it be ceremonious. Go into the center of the mystery of this internal movement and the stimulation of your optic nerve, as if there was the greatest of mysteries and wonders to be discovered there in doing so. Let us use the entire choreography of today's meditations to thaw out, and thereby to feel the dexterous nuances of our aliveness. Simply stay in this practice until I cue you to stop, okay? Stay in this. So coming into our aliveness, getting into the space that's between stimulus and response. This is a very important space, the space between. So as to actively engage in the endeavor of our conscious dissolution, letting go of what we're done with, what is expired, to expose the myth of the ego story that we've been schlepping backwards through Babylon for centuries. So we're exposing that myth, and we're opening our eyes to the sublime experience of liminality, who we were and who we're becoming and who we are in this emerging, very soft space between. It's like the Vesica Pisces, right? So we're exposing the myth of the ego. We're opening our eyes to the sublime liminality, and we're feeling the invitation to freedom. So as to emanate our altruism with each passing breath a little bit more by and by. So use this moment, please, friends, to just introduce, as you're moving your eyes, as the arms are probably on fire and screaming at you, but that's good because that's transformational. Introduce your mind to your heart. This is a practice of compassion, and the practice of compassion is almost always 90% about working with compassion's opposite, right? And compassion's opposite is, our own aggression, our own rage, our own projections and illusions and unwillingness to let change be our forte. So that's why we do these things like holding the arms in one place with strong determination, because that sensation of fire is moving us from who we were into who we are becoming. And when you have a relationship with practice versus having the intention to practice, and you have a relationship with practice because you're here now in this community of practice, we start to develop the biochemical capacity to know serenity inside of chaos. This is a really important skill set to have in this day and age, to know serenity within chaos. So go ahead and stop the ticking of the eyes and bring your hands to the front gate of the body. So I want you to just feel into the way that you can receive the breath a little bit more fully, experiencing oneness and wholeness a little bit more, and letting all of our techniques today help you to steer into the intelligence of interconnections. These are a series of small actions in this school of awakening that will realign us with the wisdom that's always within us, whether or not we're paying attention to it, whether or not we're providing a seat at the table for it. These techniques, they poise us to steer more steadily at the helm of who we actually are, so that the awareness that we're emanating and the awareness that we're marinating in, simultaneously marinating and emanating, that it's a loving awareness, and love is a verb, right? So when we have loving awareness, we can be kind, we can stay kind, and we can go kind, and the opposite of love is not hate, which is easy to make that conclusion, right? It's indifference. The opposite of love is indifference. So use today's techniques to get really clear around, to observe your own numbness. Where are you maybe a little bit numbed out in the flow of your life? So we're going to bring the arms up into right angles, and then we're going to flick the wrists, and I want you to imagine that you're holding like a big ball of some kind, like a Nerf ball, right? That's foam that you could squeeze. So get the felt reality of the fingers taking hold of the balls, and then you're going to stabilize the angles of the arms, And you're opening the chest and flicking. And I want you to create an O shape, please, with the mouth. And breathe in through the O shape in the open mouth, and then breathe out of the nose. Okay, so stay with this breathing. Stay with it even more so when you start feeling like it's deconstructing your well-being, because that feeling of deconstruction is what allows us to move from who we were to who we are becoming, right? Into the emergent self, into the future self. So staying with it. And when we are in loving awareness, when we are there, when we are that, then we can give anew, with less and less and less of a need for the giving to be transactional. We don't need to receive anything in return. We just give magnanimously and abundantly and generously because we can, because we know that it's one of our birthrights. This technique here, this is a practice of optimizing the state changes. Do you feel it happening? The state of mind is changing. We're optimizing the state changes that enable trait changes, okay? Reaching into a deep and sustained relationship with that. It's a safe space for working with the struggles that we ceaselessly carry, to create a formality for the practice of forgiveness, and to weave us back into what really matters. What really matters? What is it that really matters to you in your life right now? What matters most? So with each passing day, we can trust ourselves more. We can trust our relationships with each other more, and we can trust the way that we're spending our visit here on planet Earth, the way we're spending our time here. We can trust that more. Trust in your relationship to the practice, in your relationship to the moment, in your relationship to the breath. If you feel like you're crumbling, which is possible, deepen your rapport with the breath. You know, Esther Perel said something very beautiful about relationship. You might hear the snowplows tearing through like demons on the road. But it's beautiful out there, but those trucks are so noisy. So Esther Perel said this, I'm gonna read it to you because it's so beautiful and I don't want to miss a beat. She said, in relationships, trust isn't a promise to never hurt each other. It's the risk that we will hurt each other, and the confidence that if we do, we will come together to heal. Get into the soft, soft, soft space within. Human life is precious. Nothing is permanent. Every action causes a reaction. Our pleasure cannot exist without our pain. That is the potency of this duality that is, you know, the why underneath this whole dance that is our existence. And recognize that as you're in these last couple flicks of the wrist, that freedom is your natural state of non-searching. Allow the intensity that is the continuity of the practice. Allow it to get you into that state of non-searching. Breathe with that for a moment. Bring the hands down to your lower dantian. Place one hand on top of the other hand. Take a huge couple of breaths here. Love is your oxygen. Breathe that in into the prism of aliveness that is your body, that is your mind. All right. So what I want you to do next here, this is a gutka kriya, a gutka mudra. So you're going to use your thumbs to pull the base segment of your ring fingers down, like I'm demonstrating here. And then you're gonna press, which is gonna feel counterintuitive because you're gonna wanna lift your index fingers north, but you're gonna press the index fingers south, and you're gonna lift your middle fingers up. And I want you to reach the arms out again. So this is a lever mudra that you're creating. So index fingers down, middle fingers up, and then push the fingers in opposite directions with as much force as you possibly can. And then with the arms outstretched, you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades in as if you're grabbing hold of a little diaphanous feather in between your shoulder blades. So squeeze and then relax the shoulder blades down and out. So squeeze and then relax the shoulder blades down and out. So inhale, squeeze, inhale, 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 inhale. And then exhale, relax the shoulders down and out. Squeeze the perineum, pull your navel, so we're still on exhale, don't reach for the next breath yet. Pull your navel back, in and up towards the diaphragm, towards the bottom of the heart, towards the roof of the mouth and the crown of the head. Lifting the inside of your organism up towards the infinite. Relax the abs, inhale, huge. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, take hold of the feather. Exhale, drop the shoulder blades down and out. This gesture is relaxing the nervous system and stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system. Squeeze the perineum. Squeeze the perineum and lift it up to the navel. Pull it back towards the spine, up towards the diaphragm and the bottom of the heart, the roof of the mouth, and up to the crown of the head. Do this a couple more times. Stay in this. So there is a sense of familiarity and continuity in the gestures of the arm. Up the wattage of your presence, moving from personhood to presence. That's a good process to endeavor into. You know, whatever can be described, that's not what we are. So as you are in the immensity of the fire of the practice, drop all of your worries. Drop everything that you try to wrap in riddles. Don't touch it. Abandon your cleverness. Stay with the breath and return to your natural affections 100-fold. Dropping the shrewdness and the sharpness. When this happens, then nothing can be taken from us because we are in the truest form of who we actually are, in the criss-cross of the Tao. Seeing what is simple, embracing the primal, being the breath, being your breath. What mantras are you holding in your halo? What's the hologram that you are projecting out into your world that's built upon your fantasies and your illusions and your beliefs and your concepts and your opinions? And how can you use this mudra and this breathing technique and the sustained open-hearted elongation and connection of the posture, the intelligence of interconnection, how can you use it to lower the bucket and drink from a deeper well? From a well that's always, even in times of drought, always bubbling, so that you can drink from a clear source that's connected to an ancient origin within your own being. Couple more. Constructing a beam in your spine as you linger longer. Allowing yourself to attune with the miraculous. Breathe so deep. Every cell in your body is being pierced by the presence of the breath. mudra, it's a stopping lever. So if the mind is going berserk, you can use this mudra and it will bring everything into alignment. It'll bring all of the multiplicity of movements and waves and the vrittis of the mind. It'll bring it into that single beam that I was talking about, that I was asking you to feel in your spine. You know, when the cloudy water settles and it becomes clear, then the upset mind also settles. So just take a moment here, one hand at the heart, one hand at the lower dantian. Choosing to put a positive spin on every thought form that is arising within you, so that you are stimulating the endocrine system and the glands and the pituitary and the pineal systems are secreting appropriately and giving you the information that allows you to be a wakeful, joyful human being. Which is a great gift to give civilization in this time, to know a sustained relationship with your joy, even when it's uncomfortable, right? And that's why we do this stuff, that allows us to stand in the roar, no matter the matter. So I want you to bring the pads of the thumbs together. This is an eagle mudra, Garuda mudra, and then fan your elbows up and out a little bit, and then hover the mudra in front of your heart's center. So we're going to take an 8-stroke breath through the O shape of the mouth. So it's going to sound like this. And then 8 out of the nose. Try to integrate and include versus use. Integrate and include the whole surface of the abdominal wall and the contents of what's behind the abdominal wall. So with the strokes of the breath, you're changing the surface tension of your abdominal wall, which is then massaging all of the hardworking organs within. Okay, so let's try this. Stay with this. You're doing great. So your hands represent the wings of the eagle. One wing is your discipline, your dignity, your decorum, and the other hand or wing is that of freedom. Find the feeling of that, holding both truths simultaneously. Discipline and freedom. The practice is an invitation into freedom. And this particular technique is balancing your air element in your body. It's stabilizing when you might be feeling scattered or distracted or lethargic or irritated. This is something you can come to when you have those feelings or emotions or sensations in your organism. Garuda Mudra, bringing your discipline and your freedom into conscious co-creative participation with each other. Let every breath, friends, be a poem. Each of those segmented 8 inhalations, a poetic introduction of life force in the body. Opening that feeling, tapping that feeling, moving into the power of your own neutrality. Stay with this. Couple more. Good. Very good. So, here we are. And now we're going to open the hands and press the thumbs together so that they turn a little bit white. And then I want you to extend the thumbs south as much as you can. And then curl index, middle ring, and pinky fingers in towards the center of the palm, like we did at the very beginning when we were doing the regulatory eye exercise. And then squeeze the fingers, press the fingers deep into the surface of the palm. And now bring the thumbs, go ahead and touch the space in between your eyebrows here. And then bring the hands forward. So this mudra, Hansani mudra, is about 6 inches in front of your forehead. So this is a meditation for the snow swan. And so for those of us here, in many places in North America right now, we are in just the heart of wintering, which I have to say is one of my favorite times of the year. There is a particular synergy that happens in the monochrome and the stillness of winter. Okay, so I want you to just breathe natural here. There's nothing that you need to do specifically with the breath. Keep pressing the thumbs south and experience the left and the right side of your spine, the Ida and the Pingala. Experiencing yourself as a kind of marriage of opposites, the sun and the moon, inside of your inside that are sort of secretly kissing. You know, Rumi said that even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." And look at what happens with a love like that. It lights up the whole world. This is the kind of loving awareness that I'm asking for us to develop a relationship with, so that you can light up your whole world, no matter what. So we can go do that and be that in a beauty way. Light up your whole sky. So as we continue in this meditation, as we are, you start to reach a stage where the hands become still and calm and the arms start to support themselves and the body begins to relax a little bit more. And you start gaining access to a state change that is cultivating a trait change. And the fruit of that is this deep relaxation. Stay in the meditation. So you're continuously stimulating your life nerve. Stimulating the life nerve in the body. And do you feel it already? Like your body has lifted off of the surface upon which it's seated. The levity that is the natural state of non-searching. The sublime liminality, the conscious dissolution, the untethering, disentangling from the myth of the ego. As you move into deeper and deeper realms of this meditative state, the meditative state, when we go there regularly, it changes our traits. In a very healing way, it is a kind of medicine. Staying in it. Let every breath be a poem. Let the breath move, let it move slowly. When you move your body, or when you let the breath move slowly, or you just consciously cut it in half, when you move slowly and you move half as fast, you notice twice as much. That's such good news, right? So notice how you can witness so much more on the inside of your healthy ecosystem. By and by, with each passing breath, mindfulness, it's a lifelong process. And when we come together to do this practicing together as a community, we're the kin in the kiln. We're like siblings of destiny doing this deep and noble work. Two-legged, linguistically conscious creatures drying out and igniting with a transformational fire. Feel your body becoming more and more elegant. Elegant life forms we are. Couple more breaths. Relax the hands and place them in your lap so that one palm is facing up and the other palm is resting, also facing up inside of that palm. So you've cupped the hands as if you were going to catch a little bit of rainwater. Not sure if you can hear the rain falling in this beautiful song. But connecting with the unctuous, mineral-rich, ever-bubbling, deep wellspring within yourself that we connect with every time we meditate. And every time we meditate, we wield the mass arrangement of atoms that is our body to the beauty and the benefit of all humanity. As practitioners, we are the universe in miniature, the universe discovering itself. Isn't that a relief? So just letting yourself have these last couple of breaths, integrative breaths, grounding yourself. And thank you for making this time to show up and to do this work, to double down on the self-psychology so that you can become reliable and so that you can become even more confident, which is not to say that you weren't already tremendously reliable and confident, right? But the transformations never end, right? We can keep on refining the masterpiece of self, stepping up, showing up, breaking through, making the process good, saying yes to the journey. So let your eyes close, let the hands stay as they are, or perhaps bring the hands away from this mudra. We each have to take the journey across the sea, and either we can take a tiny little boat or we can take a luxury liner, but either way we've got to go. And furthermore, it will take the same amount of energy depending on which vessel we happen to be making the journey in. And it's the meditative mind, it's the neutral mind that gives us the luxury liner. It's important to recognize that. It's the meditative mind. It is the swinging of the polarized mind that gives us the tiny little boat. So when the waves hit the tiny little boat, the boat's going to flip over, right? So that's us in the scope of our lives. When chaos hits, like we roll over and dissociate from our innate relationship to serenity. And if we flip over, we feel like we have very little control. But if we have the meditative mind intact, which is what these, sessions give to us and do for us, no matter how big the waves get, we know that serenity within chaos, and we can be okay. And furthermore, the waves can propel us forward. We can know change as being, one of our fortes. We can embrace that in a useful, meaningful, impactful kind of a way. So one last breath. Listening to the drone of the breath circulating, the drone of the blood moving in your body. Exhaling out of an open mouth. thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Sat Nam.